Hello, everyone. So we have already given 5 minutes so everyone could join. And now we will start with the webinar, The Ingredient of the Future. The first thing that I would like to first welcome to this global webinar, The Ingredient of the Future, which is organized by Cobiosa. And first, I would like to introduce myself. I will be the person who leads the Cobiosa part of the presentation. And my name is Maria Thibault, Sales and Marketing Manager of Cobiosa. I've been here in the industry for 6 years and especially doing the Asia market. And well, you see that I'm sales and marketing, so I am having the late cosmetics trends with different points of view. For those who don't know Cobiosa, Cobiosa is a family business in Spain that was started in 1972. And we started developing some active ingredients. And now we can say that after 5 decades, more than 5 decades in the industry, we already have more than 80 ingredients, and we are in more than 70 countries. So our ingredients are all around the world. We are always we always give importance. Our mission is to offer the best naturally active, effective active ingredients. And well, I would say that we are really proud of our reputation because we have it's especially based in not only innovative approach, but also in the close relationships and long-term collaboration with our distributors and clients. As you can see here, we always ensure the best quality, efficacy, and safety. Most of the ingredients already are 100% natural. We can see they are Cosmos certified and halal, as well as ingredients that are really, how do you say, like updated with the latest trends, like upcycled ingredients, vegan, and clean beauty. Also, we are already silver in EcoVadis, and this year we started with to being in the RSPO. As I told you at the beginning, we have more than 80 ingredients which we categorize in different areas. We are really well known because of our Inca heritage. We bring many ingredients from Peru, because it's a mega biodiverse country with different climates. We also have ceramides and upcycling marine ingredients. And our latest update is that we have included a new category that is high-tech ingredients. And this is due to the latest consumer demands. So as you saw, we are talking about the ingredient of the future, and this ingredient has to be related with sustainability, because sustainability is no longer a trend or something optional, but is already expected by consumers. We always talk about the climate change, and it's interesting because if we continue at this rate of consumption in general, just in 2050, that is not very far, we will need 3 planets to maintain the way of life that we are having. And so this is why consumers are starting to be very conscious about it. And you can see in the graphs that more than 67% of consumers now are preferring ingredients that are sustainable, natural, or eco-conscious. Also, in the last 2 years, we see how the increase of the 72% of consumers are reporting to give more importance to sustainability. And of course, the social media is always helping this, because nowadays any news is already known worldwide because of the social media in just 5 minutes. So also in the social media, they are giving a lot of fact check for the claims. This is something that we talk about greenwashing and all of these new claims about clean beauty. So as I told you, this sustainability claim is the new standard of beauty. I've already been in the last years in European countries, for example, in Germany, and I see that everything is already sustainable. And they are going even more than that, beyond that. They are going through ethical sourcing, ethical cosmetics. So we see that sustainable is no longer a niche, but is also what is defining the future of cosmetics. Here in the graph, we can see that in the last years, well, first of all, Europe and North America are the ones that are leading the growth. They are having 80% of the account, 80% of the natural and organic cosmetics, and this is still going to grow. In the next years, it's going to triple its current size. Some of you might also be companies that are exporting their products to Asia. For example, this is a great opportunity because in Asia, they have a huge gap for sustainability, and now they are doing it. They are starting to use a lot of these products. So what everyone's talking about, and we already know about this technology, is the Phyto Stem Cells. We don't only know about the technology, but this is a category that is growing a lot worldwide. 10% of category growth, which is something nowadays, I think the cosmetic industry is growing around 4 point something. So this is something huge. And this is something that is like sustainability is very interesting because it contains all the claims related with sustainability. However, there are some consumers and some clients that are not 100% familiar with the technology of the Phyto Stem Cell. This is why we have invited our colleague Felipe Aquea from Rubisco Biotechnology. Cobiosa, for one side, has a great experience in developing active ingredients and in the market of the cosmetics. And on the other hand, we had Rubisco, which is a biotechnological company that is specialized in cell culture from unique plants that you will never find in other companies. And also they have this huge interest and huge knowledge about the Phyto Stem Cells. So we are working together to develop a complete line that we are going to show. And well, now I'm going to introduce Dr. Felipe Aquea. He is a biologist and has a PhD in molecular genetics and microbiology, so he knows about what he's talking. And he has a postdoctorate in plant molecular biology in the University Institute of San Diego, California. Has published already more than 30 scientific publications about plant biology, has already 7 patents of invention, and what is most important is that he's our colleague and the founder of Rubisco Technology that was in 2015. Hello, Felipe.
Hi, Maria. Can you hear me?
Yes. Welcome to the webinar.
Thank you for to be here with you guys this day. Well, my name is Felipe Aquea. I am the scientific director and founder of Rubisco. Rubisco Biotechnology is a biotech startup based on Santiago de Chile in South America. And we are spent more like 10 years to develop the plant cell culture technology to produce natural ingredients for the focus in the cosmetic industry. Next slide, please. Well, this technology is not new. This technology has been in use for over 40 years. It was developed in response to the need for a sustainable source or to obtain a sustainable source of a raw material or to produce the phytopharmaceutical Taxol. Taxol is these chemical compounds that is commonly used in cancer and chemotherapy. What is the problem with the Taxol production is because this chemical compound exists in a low concentration in the bark of the native tree of North America, that the name is Taxus verifolia. That means that to produce an amount of these compounds, they need to cut down a lot of trees. For example, to produce 250 kilograms of this molecule, it's necessary to cut down around 750,000 trees between 30 and 50 years old. So that means that the production of these chemical compounds is not sustainable a lot. For this reason, after 50 years of research, scientists from UC Davis in California developed an alternative technology for to cultivate the raw material in a lab. Mm-hmm. As I say, after 15 years of research, these scientists invent the plant cell culture technology. And today is the only method used for taxol production worldwide. Next. Using this technology, today we can replicate any almost plant species, and we can use this technology to develop unique products, or we can replace the raw material that today are producing using the traditional methods. And as you can see here in this slide, we can grow a forest without touching a tree. Why this technology is sustainable? First of all, we reduce the water consumption to produce plant biomass. To produce 1 kilograms of cell biomass, we need just 3 liters of water. If we compare this water consumption with the traditional methods, we are very sustainable. To produce 1 kilograms of the traditional, using the traditional methods, to produce 1 kilograms of fresh biomass, we need at least 300 liters of water. That means that using this technology, we save around 99% of water consumption. All of the raw material is growing in a lab conditions, and for this reason, we don't use pesticide, and also we don't use agricultural land. This technology is 100% commitment with the biodiversity protection because we need just a small piece of a plant to induce the cell multiplication that growing inside of this plant material. And for this reason, using this technology, we can work or we can use plants that are protected or plants that are overexploited. And finally, all of the raw material growing under controlled environmental conditions. That means that all of the raw material is stable between different batches. For this reason, we can guarantee that the quality of the extract that are obtained from this material has the same quality between the different batches. Next slide. This is a simple overview of the process. At the beginning, we select some specific plants that produce specific metabolites or the cosmetic market demand for this material. We collect one small piece of the plants, we introduce into the lab, and then we apply all of the knowledge in plant physiology to induce the stem cell multiplication. And then we select some specific lines, cell lines that are metabolic active, and we scale up the production of this plant material in bioreactors. We harvest this material, and then we produce the final product. Next slide. This technology is based on the totipotentiality of the plant cells. As you can know, all the plant cells has the ability to reproduce and new organisms independently. Mm-hmm. This is the main difference between the plant cells versus the animal cells. Mm-hmm. And the reason of that is because the plant has some structure that the name is meristems. These meristems are a small organ, the plants, that is rich in stem cells. And the meristems are the responsible for the organ formation of plant growth. Mm-hmm. So in this technology, we are using, we can induce the multiplication of the plant cells in a lab, and then we can reproduce the raw material in controlled conditions. Next slide. Our first product was from Alerce. Alerce is a native tree that growing only in the Patagonia, and is a protected species. We collect just a small branch from the soil. We bring this material to the lab, and then we cut in small pieces that you can see here in the second pictures. These small pieces of the plants are growing in a petri dish that has a formulation that contain nutrients, vitamins, hormones, and sugar that are specific for any species. After a couple of months, as you can see here in the third pictures, appear and cell biomass from inside of these small pieces of the plant, from the meristem that has in this part. Then we select the specific lines that are metabolic active, and after a couple of years, we can obtain an established cell line to move to the next step, that is the scale-up. A similar approach can be used in any species, and as you can say, you can see in the bottom of the pictures, in another plants, we also select the specific lines that are produce pigments that are very important for cosmetic also. Next. All of these cell lines are scaled up in bioreactors that are this specific equipment, and are different materials for the bioreactors, are from the steel or from the glass. And as you can see here in the picture, these glass bioreactors are growing in a specific room, with ideal conditions of nutrition, light, and temperature. And always we say that these are very happy cells that grow in an eternal spring. Next. The production of a cosmetic ingredient has two main steps. The first step is when we grow up the cell biomass in bioreactors, and every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we duplicate the volume until we reach a specific volume. And then we stop the growing of the cell biomass, we harvest the raw material, and then we move to the next step, that the downstream process, when we proceed to the extract the important metabolites that these cells produce, until we obtain an active ingredients. Next slide. An important question is, how can we determine if a plant extract has a cosmetic application? To answer this question, we implement preclinical screening of cosmetic efficacy using molecular markers. To do that, we treat human epidermis cells, keratinocytes, with a non-lethal doses of any extract for 24 hours. And after this time, we evaluate the expression of several genes that are related to cosmetic claims, like collagen synthesis, antioxidant, anti-inflammation, epithelial barrier, water balance, biorevitalizing products, or senescence. Using a molecular technique that the name is qPCR, we evaluate the expression of this gene, and how the expression of these genes are changed when the cells, human cells, are treated with a plant extract. Next slide. And finally, we want to introduce a new concept to name this plant cell technology. The Plant Cell Institute, that is an international organization that reunions almost all of the plant cell culture companies around the world, are introduced the concept microbotanics. And this concept should be a name, a new name for to use in this technology for to produce this raw material in a lab conditions for to production of natural ingredients for cosmetic industry, for food, or even for pharma. That is all. Thanks, Maria.
Thank you for this clear explanation, Felipe. I think that we have demonstrated that Cobiosa has a great relation and transparency with the way of working. I wanted to ask you some questions, Felipe, regarding the patents, because maybe it's not that clear. You were talking about when I introduced you, we were talking about the patents. Is this mean that the nutrition that you give to these stem cells is already patent, or how does it work? Felipe?
Sorry, can you repeat? Sorry, the
Yes,
question?
of course. I was talking about the patents that
Mhm.
we talk about when we introduce you, and I was wondering if you can tell us when the process of the nutrition that you give to these stem cells, different stem cells, is this something that is already patent? Can you tell me a little bit more about the patents, please?
Okay. Yes, all of the methodology for to induce and multiply the cells in a lab are under secret trade. Yeah? That means that we keep in secret how is the nutrient formulation for any specific cell line. Mhm. But we patent the use, yeah, because we are assigned a new use for any of these cell lines, and our strategy, like a company, is to patent the use of a specific plant extract for a specific cosmetic use. Mhm.
Okay, thank you very much. It was very clear. So now I will give a brief introduction about the portfolio of high-tech ingredients of phyto stem cells that we have in Cobiosa together with Rubisco. Some years ago, we already launched an amazing ingredient that is Cobiostem alerte, which has the secret of longevity. This is because this tree is unique, being the longest tree on Earth. It has more than 5,400 years old, meaning that maybe at the same time as the pyramids, like if we put it on time, this is really, really old tree. And thanks to its resilience, it has great activity like the antioxidant capacity that we get and protection from the blue light. Also, it helps to regenerate skin faster. It accelerates the skin regeneration. So this could be for not only stretch marks, but also acne, which is something very important, and for anti-aging. And after some years later, last year, we also launched another ingredient that is called Maki Stem. This comes from one of the most antioxidant fruits in the world, which is the maki. And in this case, it's really interesting because being 100% natural active ingredient, we are able to reduce 3 kinds of dark spots, which is something that is very interesting for some areas that are very sensible, like, for example, the eye area. And also is pro-collagen, which is something really trendy. But now I will focus more in the new launches of this year, which is Acustem Atacama and Stensem Kijai, that are also very unique. Firstly, I will introduce Acustem Atacama, which is the main claim is make your skin bloom again. And now you will understand why. So here we have At the right side, we have this extreme environment, unique landscape, which is the Atacama Desert. This desert is located in the northern Chile, and is a place where there is the highest solar radiation and the most extreme arid climate. And if you can see the picture or the video, you cannot see life there. Even the NASA takes the robots before sending to Mars because they do trials there due to the resemblance with Mars. However, there is a phenomenon, a miracle that happens more or less every decade. Sometimes it happens 3 years, but mostly every decade, which is the miracle of the blooming desert. This is an amazing image that we can see here. And to see this miracle, maybe you need to camp for years to be able to get this view, because it's very ephemeral and very unique. So as I told you, this is the start of the image of the Atacama Desert, and when this blooming phenomenon appears, we were able to get we are only able to get all the characteristic of these plants due to the Phyto Stem Cell technology. The most important flower that appears in this Atacama Desert is the Thisate grandiflora, which has developed unique survival mechanisms to be able to live in this extreme environment, and especially because it's able to retain the water that comes with the blooming desert miracle. And also this flower is very ephemeral because it only lasts 7 days. So we are getting access to an ephemeral and unpredictable plant thanks to this technology. And no one has access on it. So we are the only ones that offer this kind of active ingredient. The main benefits of this Acustem atacama for skin and scalp is that the most interesting thing is that it has smart hydration system. With this system that we are able to get, we promote and optimize the natural hydration of our skin. So we are promoting our own system. And also it's able to reduce all the inflammatory responses. So what's about this smart hydration system? Well, the main mechanism is because we are able to promote the synthesis of a very important protein that is called the aquaporine. The aquaporine is not water channels, but also these are water channels that are able to regulate the water and the glycerol in our skin. And it was discovered, it gained a Nobel Prize by, the name is Peter Egri, and he promoted in the Nobel Prize in 2003. So we see that in our system, we have aquaporins, but the greatest aquaporine that we have in the epidermis is the aquaporine 3. Being not only a water channel, but also it's key to regulate the skin hydration, the wound healing, and the inflammation responses. So this is a cutting-edge topic that we see that there are more and more brands that are using this, promoting this activity of our Pro Aquaporine or Aquaporine Booster. The one that is talking more about it is Eucerin, for example. We talk about the open up the skin's water channel. So for the efficacy test, Felipe already explained that we first start by measuring the gene expression, and we have seen that after 24 hours in keratinocytes, the gene that was more expressed with 1% of Acustem atacama was the AQP3 in charge of encoding the aquaporine 3. So we are able to express it 2 times more than in a normal way, normal keratinocyte. And then on the other hand, we see, as I told you before, what these water channels, the aquaporine, is also able to reduce the inflammatory responses. We selected 2 interleukins that are very common in people with atopic skin or itchy sensation. And here we have at the left side, we have the interleukin 13, which was measured in fibroblasts. And we see that first we induce the inflammation, and with just 0.1 of the Ecostem Atacama, we are able to reduce it 18%. And then on the right side, we have the interleukin 31, that in this case, we measure it in monocytes, and it's really related with the inflammatory and itchy effect. And with just 0.3, we also reduce it 23%, which is great results. So after the in vitro, we have done some ex vivo efficacy tests that what we do it is in skin explants. And this is like to have a similar effect of the in volunteers. And in this case, we see that these are at the top, we see the skin explants in the basal control without any treatment. And then we treat it with 1% of Ecostem Atacama. And we wait for 4 days. And after 4 days, we are able to see the promotion of this protein that has increased 66% more. And you can perfectly see in the pictures. This is something that visually is very amazing. The green part is the aquaporin. And the last test in vivo that we have done is to measure the optimal levels of hydration in volunteers. In this case, it's 20 volunteers from 18 to 70 years old, and they had to apply once these different formulas. One was the control, the other one was the placebo, and this same formula with 1% of Ecostem Atacama and 2% of Ecostem Atacama. And we measure in different times. The first result that we obtain is that after just 2 hours, so more immediate result, we are able, with 1% of Ecostem Atacama, we are able to double the effect of the placebo. And with 2%, we have much better result. And then we also have seen the effect after 4 hours and after 24 hours, which also has a very huge gap between the control and the placebo, maintaining these levels of hydration after 24 hours. To summarize, this active ingredient, this is the inky name that you can see. It's hydrosoluble, so it's very, very easy to use. It is compatible with most raw materials. You might think that stem cells are very difficult to formulate or very weak to formulate, but in this case, it's easy and you can use it from 1 to 2%. And we are having an ingredient that comes from an ephemeral and unique plant, bringing this thanks to this Phyto Stem Cell technology, which is 100% natural, vegan, and is really related with the clean beauty and the sustainable movement, but also is related with the trends that we see this year in cosmetics, because it optimizes the level of water in skin at a cellular level. And this is something that nowadays we are seeing this year. We have heard about hydration everywhere. And you can use it not only in skin, but it can be also interesting for makeup or for sun care. Okay, so I think that we have some questions, so we can stop for a moment for this, okay, let's see. So I don't know if you have any question about this ingredient. Okay, so if you have any question, you can ask in the chat, and we will answer at the end of the presentation. The last one is stem senkiyai. This is very interesting because due to the main property of this tree, of this plant, because it helps to the epidermal cohesion, so it will strengthen the skin barrier that we have seen in the past years, how this is very, very important for the skin and for consumers. So this tree, that is the Quillaya saponaria, more commonly known as soap bark tree, it's a species very well known in Chile, and it's very well known because it has a reputation of resilience, and it's able to survive to very also extreme conditions. Some years ago, there was a fire in Chile, and these trees were able to survive to this fire. So with this, we see that the bark of the tree is really resistant. And this is why we focus on this tree, because of the resistance. However, we are also trying to solve a sustainable problem, because this tree is now in danger and we cannot get access so easily. I think that the Chilean government has regulated the obtention of this tree every 5 years, and you can only get access to 35%, because the bark of the tree has a high level of saponins. So these saponins are very interesting as a natural tension ticks, and also for antimicrobial. This is something that we are also developing for the future. Maybe in the next months. This is something for antimicrobial for scalp care. So in the future we will have this ingredient for scalp. But now we promote the phytosterols of these ingredients, because it's a pro-filagreen product. What is the filagreen? Well, most of you may know that the filagreen is an essential protein for the skin structure. Most of people that has, for example, atopic skin, usually apply ceramides, which is the lipid barrier, and is something that is very important also for strengthened skin. However, some people don't know about this protein, the filagreen, that you can see here. It's the one that is joining all these corneocytes and all these ceramides, meaning that if we have a lack of it, we will have many problems of dehydration, because we will have transepidermal water loss, and our skin will be more vulnerable because we will have the attack of all the external factors. So the filagreen is well-known. It's not as known as ceramides, for example, but is really important for the health of our skin, and when it degrades, it turns into amino acids that become part of the natural moisturizing factor. We have seen very important brands, especially in Asia, that are already talking about the filagreen, and you can see here in the right that in the left that they already have in baby care products, something really interesting to strengthen the baby care barrier function. And we also have Dr. G, which is some brand from Korea, very well known, and Cetaphil, that in Singapore is #1 for eczema treatment. So continuing with the efficacy test, first we see the molecular markers, and it is really interesting to see that the stem cell Kijai at 1% not only express 4 times more the filagreen gene, but also it expresses other genes that are related with the skin barrier. It has the lorigreen, which is a protein that it's like the envelope of the corneocytes. It also protects the skin. And then we also have, it also promotes 6 times more the ceramide. And after seeing these results, when we go to the protein, to the ex vivo in the skin explants, we see that the protein production of this, the filagreen protein production is higher with 1% of our stem cell Kijai. It's even produced more than 53%. We can also see in the pictures how the lack of this filagreen, and how after 4 days of treatment, we increase this number of the synthesis of filagreen. And the last in vivo test, well, it is very difficult to do an in vivo test for all ages, because this ingredient will be very interesting for all type of skins and all ages. But we focus in an example of skins that have a lack of strength in the skin barrier, which are the people that is between 40 and 70 years old. They had to use 2% of stem cell Kijai in a cream versus placebo during 56 days. And we measure different variables. The first one is the skin firmness, which is after 56 days, we see that it also doubles the effect of the placebo. So the change is much more with our active ingredient than with the placebo. And then for the skin firmness, what we measure here is the change of the skin, meaning that with less change, this is because the skin is more firm. So we use it with the cutometer, and we see that after stretching the skin, we see how doesn't have a huge change compared with the placebo. And then the last one would be the dermal density, something that we really need after maybe 25 years old. But this is because we reduce the capacity in promoting our own fibers, and between the dermis and the epidermis, there is a band that appears, which is the SLEP band, and it means that it's empty of all these fibers. So this is because not only we produce less, but also we are more attacked. We have more, we have the exposome, and we have more skin external factors that is damaging. And with our ingredient, we have strengthened skin barrier. So we see that with the placebo, we even lose density. But with our ingredient, we are gaining this density and protecting our skin structure. And we also have seen that volunteers had a great point of view of this ingredient, because 100% of them saw their skin was more moisturized and felt smoother. Also, they think that it's very interesting because it increased their natural beauty. So we are not talking about a sustainable ingredient, but also we are promoting our own beauty. And we see that also 80% said that the skin was firmer and that the expression lines were more reduced. In this case, the ink is also very, very short inky, easy to formulate because it's hydrosoluble, and the dose of use is from 1 to 2%. And this is really an ingredient that is the latest, is updated to the latest trend, which is the skin barrier. We are constantly talking about the protection of this skin barrier and how we want to preserve the skin integrity to avoid future problems in the skin. So in this case, it's acting as an epidermal cohesion. With this stem cell technology, we are able to access to a source that this tree that usually would be very difficult because we had to wait 5 years until we get access. And we don't know if this is very similar to the beginning of the stem cells that Felipe explained. And this is also very interesting because this ingredient is China compliant, vegan, 100% natural. And it also has a patent, like Felipe explained. In some countries, it's already pending, but it's going to be a patent for the use of the skin barrier, the improvement of the skin barrier with this active ingredient. So thank you for listening. This is a summary of our 4 stem cells. We can also share with you, apart from this presentation, we can also share some formulas with very interesting concepts. And as you can see, Cobiosa and Rubisco working together is giving a lot of importance for sustainability and working on developing unique ingredients and replacing actual ingredients that are endangered or is having any problem of sustainability. I don't know if you have any questions. So if you want, you can raise your hand, or I think I will go directly to the chat to see if someone has questions. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so there is, let me see, please see the presentation. Very interesting. Can you please advise some examples in the marketing using your stem cells? So thank you for the question, Vindala. We already, for these new stem cells, we are still working on it. However, you should be fast because there's people that is already very interested on the ingredient. And on the other hand, Maquistem and Cobistem Alerte are already in the market. We have the Alerte in Sephora in Chile, in a company that produced for Sephora. And we also have Maquistem, especially in very important brands in Korea, because you know that in that market the dark spot is very important. Do you have any botanical actives for atopic skin condition, psoriasis with clinical proof? Well, for these kind of skins with atopic conditions, both of the ingredients that I already presented, Acustem atacama and stem cell quillai, are really, really interesting because these are botanical origin, because it comes from this technology, so 100% natural. And also we can see that the skin hydration and the barrier function are very important for these skins. And you saw that, for example, it reduced the inflammation process of people with psoriasis. So I would recommend a mix, or at least to use one of them. And well, we also have other ingredients that we could recommend. I saw that they recommend you chia. So if you need more information, do not hesitate to ask your distributor. Hello, can we use any of these ingredients for hair care products? Well, as I already introduced and presented, we can use these ingredients. We already have it in the skin, but we are seeing that nowadays consumer is more conscious about the scalp care, and we see that we are treating scalp like skin. So meaning that the ingredients that we have proof in skin can be used for scalp. In this case, we can use any of these ingredients of these stem cells for scalp. However, if you want to treat a specific problem, for example, anti-dandruff, I use an anti-dandruff ingredient, you have to be updated, because you have to be listening to the news next Cobiosa launches, because we will launch a great ingredient for the dandruff, it has great results. Okay, so thank you for your questions. If you have any more questions, you can send us an email or send to our distributors, and we will be happy. Oh, sorry. And is there any difference between these stem cells and the rest of the market? Well, as you saw, no one has this kind of plants, because we are the first one to see this, and we are the only ones that have access to it. So we see that not only we are offering unique ingredients that no one is offering, but also we have a reason to offer these ingredients, because we are not developing stem cells from a normal plant. We are searching for ingredients that are unique, that are not very accessible, and we are also solving sustainable problems. So Felipe is really working on this, studying all these plants that we can develop for the future, and he's doing a great job. So thank you for your questions, and the most important thing, for attending. And Felipe, thank you for taking the time for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.